Whether you're fly fishing in a stream, getting those ankles wet, or deep in the ocean, casting nets, fish nerds. Fish nerds. Fish nerds. It's a podcast.
Just for the halibut.
Fried in a basket or broiled in a pan. Eat it raw like
Hello and welcome to the Fish Nerds, the show about fish, fishing, and eating fish. I'm Clay Groves, Chief Executive Fish Nerd, licensed fishing guide, your best friend. This show is always interesting, usually funny, and mostly true. And we have got a great show for you today. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you like what I got for you today. So today on the show, we are going to give you some fish in the news featuring Dave Kellam. Longtime fans know who Dave is. New fans will figure it out pretty quick. It's going to be some really good news coming up here. After the news, John King, the Crappie Hippie, will join us with our fly fishing correspondent, Rich Collins, and we'll give you an update on how the COVID virus is affecting fishing on the East Coast and in the Midwest. A little Midwest East Coast mashup action, and you can find all kinds of links in the show notes to the Crappie Hippie's lure page and to Rich Collins' business as well, who's been working on updating our website, trying to keep us going. So head on down to those show notes for those links. But in the meantime, let's just jump right on in to the pod.
The following public service announcement is brought to you by Glasswater Angling, makers of lead-free fishing tackle for a better outdoors. 5 reasons to fish lead-free. Reason number 1, better fishing. What does one mean by better fishing? More strikes? More catches? More grip and grin proofs of prowess? It can mean all that, but for most there's a whole lot more. Better fishing embraces a consciousness of a larger picture of the ecological web wherein our quarry is placed. This perspective emanates from empathy and appreciation for where and how our fish fit into the ecosystem and make their living. On the practical side of things, good fishers know that acting as dedicated custodians to the environment means more places to fish and more fish in those places. Thus, lead-free fishing is just another thing we can do, along with all the things sporting anglers already do, like disposing a fishing line properly, releasing fish quickly, and following fish and game laws, to demonstrate our deep appreciation of the natural world. It's an appreciation that leads to a real payoff in tight lines and good times. This PSA was brought to you by Glasswater Angling. Glasswater Angling, makers of lead-free fishing tackle, the Crappie Doodler, Angle King, Bismuth Jig Heads, and much more at glasswaterangling.com.
Hello, Fish Nerds. I'm super excited because I am joined tonight by the original Chief Executive Fish Nerd, the first Chief Executive Fish Nerd, founding father of the Fish Nerds, Mr. David Kellam. Dave Kellam, welcome to the podcast.
Oh my God. Hey, it's great to be here. What a nice thing to be able to do this. This is wonderful.
It's been so long since I've seen you here on the internet, and I'm so happy to have you back and doing the news, which has always been our favorite part to do together.
Well, exactly, and just doing a fish in the news thing, and yeah, it's great. Thanks for having me on. It's awesome.
Hey, cheers! Welcome.
Cheers! Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you're drinking your seltzer. I got my tie-dye beer. So during this pandemic, before the pandemic, I was like, I'm going to slow down my drinking and maybe drink less and eat healthier. Now that the pandemic's out there happening, I'm like,
no, it's done.
Don't care. I'm drinking
tie-dye beer. Wow. Is it all funky colors?
All kinds of, yeah. Well, later when I yawn, if I have too much of it, it's like a Technicolor yawn. So
oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool that distilleries are now selling hand sanitizer. Do you know that?
I did know that, only they're sold out. So I tried going to the Tamworth distillery for it, and they sell that, and they still sell whiskey, so you can get all in one shopping.
News, fish in the news. Everybody loves their fish in the news.
All right, you want to do some news with me?
Yeah, let's try some fish in the news. All right, well, the first one comes from patentleo.com. All right, so it's like patent.
Quality, yeah.
Quality site. This is a site for lawyers. It's incredibly interesting.
It sounds like awful. Why are you on that site?
It's my extra career. I thought I'd be a patent lawyer. Yeah, why not?
Why not?
So the title is Many an Angler Has Gone Fishing and Returned Empty-Handed. All right.
It's true.
It is true. I mean, these lawyers are not known for their for their creativity. Yeah. Anglers fail. There you go. Yeah. So listen to this, though. All right. So patent attorney Christopher Rudy has been pursuing his fishing hook and fishing method patent application since 1989.
Wow. So wait, it is 2020 now.
Yes.
So let's do a little fish nerds math. 89 to 99. Wait.
Yeah, it's 41. I did this before.
Okay. How
41 years.
89. No.
It's not?
89. No, it's 21 years.
No. No, it's
you said 1989.
89, 10, 30 years. 31 years.
To 20. 31.
No. Is it 31?
I think it's, it has to be. Yes, 31 years.
31 years.
Yeah, so you were wrong and I was wrong, and the right answer was right in the middle as always.
Well, I'm glad nothing's changed. All right.
That's Fish Nerds math.
Yeah, Fish Nerds math. There you go. That's how we measure our fish.
That's how we roll.
Anyway, Christopher Rudy, definitely a long time, right? Since 1989, 31 years doing this. Mm-hmm. And his current set of claims has been deemed ineligible. All right. So for 31 years, he keeps trying. He tries again, and he gets denied again.
And then you keep going, nope.
Yep.
Wow.
His idea.
He's dedicated.
Oh, he is very dedicated.
Yeah.
His idea is a fishing hook based on selecting a fishing hook based on the water conditions. That's his thing.
Okay, so I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah, so there are 3 basic steps that are in the article. Okay. One is observe the water and determine whether it's clear, stained, or muddy.
Okay.
That's what a person is supposed to do. So you go out and you look at water. Next, measure light transmittance in the water at the depth where the hook will be placed. I don't know what that is.
But so he's fishing. Let's say he's fishing dirty water,
right?
And he's 12 feet deep, and he wants the hook placed at 6 feet under the water.
Right. So then he's got to measure, and then this patent he's looking isn't about the device. It's not the measuring thing. This is the process he's trying to patent.
The actual so he's a little chart maybe.
Yeah,
he's patenting this oh god.
Yeah. So he has this chart, and these are the 3 steps, and he's like,
I want to patent my spreadsheet.
Yes, exactly. And so that's number 2, and then the third step is use the observation and measurement. So you're looking and you're measuring, and look up on the table below, and to see which fish hook color to use. All right?
My gosh.
That's it.
That's it. So it's a chart that he said he wants to patent that helps you determine what color hook is your best. All right. So he started making this before iPhone apps were a thing.
Before iPhone app. Remember Color Selector? That's an electronic thing that bass anglers use. Yeah. Yeah. They've had this for a while, and they've had tools to do it. But this guy's trying to patent the process. All right. So the inventor explains, quote, that the fish are able to make sense of the same color selection in the same way. And the process apparently mimics the color selection of the fish. So like the way the fish do it. All right.
Okay.
So he makes that argument, he's explaining it. And the court reports, he says and he's appealed this. The court found that the, quote, piscatory mental process.
Oh, I love that word so much.
Isn't that good? Piscatory mental process suggests that this is unpatentable because it's, if a fish can do it, that there's no sense. Like, why do you care? How can you patent something that a fish does in its head?
So he's going to sue the fish.
I don't know. He's going to go back, but for 31 years. He's been fighting that fight, trying to get his process that any fish can do at any time. And that's why the court said you can't patent it, because it's just in your mind.
Now, are there other examples of things like this that have gotten patented?
Of like a process?
Yeah.
I think there's probably like manufacturing processes, I suppose, that you could patent.
No, but is there like a hunting chart? Like I'm going to go turkey hunting tomorrow and it's going to be 20 degrees out with snow on the ground. Do I select a red bullet or a green bullet or?
Well, what about the moon chart thing? We've been seeing moon charts forever, right?
Right. Are those patented?
I don't think so. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, patenting all these things, this court says it's not possible. So there you go. But this guy doesn't care. He keeps going.
Well, maybe eventually like someone will wear it down or it'll be like, fine, here's your patent. What are you going to do with it?
Exactly.
Because he patented chart. So like, who's buying a chart?
Yeah.
Like, what good does it do him?
Well, it's not even the chart. It's the process. So
the process.
Yeah. It's like, he's trying to patent the idea of looking at water and figuring out what color you should use. So people have been doing that for a while. So anyway, that's my first fish in the news, that crazy kind of story from Fish Patent trying to figure out the process.
Do you have a copy of the chart?
I do. Yeah. It's in the story.
In the story?
That's not what I'm sharing. I'll share my screen later.
Okay. So
it's a boring chart.
No, but I was going to ask you, today I went fishing for trout. Mm-hmm. We went tenkara fishing for trout using a 20-foot bamboo rod. It wasn't a tenkara.
Oh, I saw that video. That was cool.
Yeah. So we had a little beadhead nymph on there, and the trout were everywhere, but we couldn't reach them. That's why we used the big long rod because it was over a pile of brush. But the water was very tannic. Mm-hmm. And we had to guess what kind of hook to use.
All right, hold on. Right, so I got the chart now.
We were fishing in 3 feet deep of water.
So would you call the water stained or muddy?
Stained.
Okay. And the light intensity, what would you say is at 3 feet of water? Give me a percentage. 10, 20, 30, 40.
You mean like how bright was the light in the water?
I don't know.
I'm going to go with 20. Let's go 20. We'll go 20.
So it was 20% light intensity and stained water.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if you were right. You should have used a black and yellow lure.
Wow.
Black and yellow is what you should have used.
We used pink because we always use pink.
Pink.
Yeah.
Pink's not even on the chart.
Well, then you know what? He can't get a patent because pink is the best color for brook trout. Everyone knows this. What a jerk! I hate that guy.
What a jerk.
First, I was on his team a minute ago.
You were.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, do it. Yeah, but no.
Keep going, Rudy. Come on, man.
I'm rooting for you, Rudy.
Come on.
Oh, man.
Now he's a jerk.
I hate that guy. What a bastard. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. I got a story, Dave. You want to hear?
Please do.
This is from bringmethenews.com. I said, it's good.
It's kind of on the nose, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this is from Minnesota. And this is a pelican chokes to death on a walleye and the fish survives. So, and the subtitle for the article is "Survival of the Fatest."
I like where this is going.
I do too. So, a pelican was found dead in a northern Minnesota river, having apparently choked on a walleye, which was still alive. The unusual discovery was made by the DNR conservation officers. Now, it's a rule in these stories. If you're writing them, you have to pick a conservation officer whose name is impossible to pronounce. It's never Smith or Jones. It's always some impossible name.
Well, you're up in Minnesota too, so you're probably Polish or something, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Demos Thanos.
Oh, that's Greek.
Thanos. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was his first name.
Oh.
His last name is Regis. He covers the black
Regis. Okay.
He covers the Black Duck South area of Beltrami County.
Of course.
Per his report, he found a dead pelican floating in the Tamarack River while out working the spring fish run activity. Further investigation into the cause of death of the pelican was soon apparent. And it was soon apparent it ate more than it could swallow.
Yeah.
The officer found a 25 or 26-inch walleye still in the pelican's bill. The walleye was still alive.
Oh my gosh, that's a big fish.
It is a good one. The walleye was released to continue its spawning run. So the walleye, not only was it in the thing's mouth, it got to release and go spawn. It's got some good genes. Incidentally, there's a slot limit in Minnesota for walleye, and the slot is 17 to 26 inches. So the pelican would have had to release this fish anyway. So just
Nice.
so, yeah.
Nice.
But I want to know, like, so you're a DNR officer, and you see a dead pelican floating in the lake.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it was me, I'd be like, "Hey, look, a dead pelican," and that would be the whole story. Not, "Hey, look, a dead pelican. Maybe I should look inside its mouth."
Wonder what's in there.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah. Or I wonder. I wish it was more details. That's the whole story.
Yeah, that's a pretty good story. I like the idea that this fish has survived and spawned and the genes are carrying on, because we're going to see a big drop in pelicans in about 10 years.
Yeah. The whole population's in trouble now because this one fish.
Choking all the pelicans.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
That's my new euphemism when I'm alone and kids are out of the house and Kristen's out. What are you doing tonight? I'm alone, choking the pelican.
Yeah, that would do it.
Stupid beer.
Maybe I should go next.
You're up.
This is a publication I'm not sure you're aware of.
All right.
It's the New York Times.
Oh.
Yep. Go ahead.
Well, incidentally, the Fish Nerds podcast is now a New York Times bestseller. So.
Good.
I have no idea how to market that.
Yeah. Keep going. All right.
Okay, go ahead.
So this story, the title is "How the World's Squarest Fish Gets Around."
Oh, squarefish.
Squarefish. Exactly. And I have a video for this. So we're going to try to share a video.
All right. Let's do this.
So this fish is the yellow boxfish.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's described as a squat and rectangular fish and resembles a plastic storage bin. All right. Now, talk about a lottery,
Yeah.
of like what you're going to look like. The boxfish sports hard, bony plates. Guess what they call the hard, bony plates? So boxfish looks like a box, and it's hard. It's like a little cube.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what they call the outside of that boxfish that's all rigid and tough? You're never going to guess.
No.
A carapace.
Oh.
Isn't that... I thought that was kind of interesting.
I guess that's... What else would you call it?
Well, I know, but turtles have carapaces,
They
right?
do. I guess if you're shaped in a... yeah, there it is.
I guess anything...
I was like waiting for something funny, and you're like, a carapace? And I'm like...
No. This is
Great.
Fish Nerds. This is interesting stuff.
It is interesting.
For God's sakes. They said other boxfish look like purses, frisbees, or ottomans. I don't know.
Good.
I don't know why an ottoman is a thing that somebody would look at.
You know what? I think it has to do with the person who was writing this story. That's probably their base of reference. They were on the couch. They're all in quarantine. They look at their purse, or they look at their feet. They haven't washed or changed their socks in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
their feet are on the ottoman. They're like, ottoman.
Yeah.
Jed Lush describes it as SpongeBob's brother. So.
Oh, yeah, it is kind of. Well, here, let's look at the video. So I'm going to try a share screen. I'm going to share screen. I'm going to share audio. Look at this. Look at us. Holy cow. And is it doing it yet? Oh, there it is. And I'm going to share the video. Look at that.
Wow. It's cute.
Yeah, now watch his tail. Pay attention to his tail. And see how he's zipping around.
Yeah.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It's really cute. What does your tail do? It just kind of like hangs out.
Yeah. I mean, it's back there. It's doing that.
Mm-hmm.
This fish reminds me of that thing in Star Wars where they practice the lightsabers. You know,
it's all zipping around, and Luke Skywalker is trying to hit him, and
exactly.
Yeah. Boxfish.
Yeah, there you go. In hindsight, I probably should have turned off the sound, but
it added a lot to it.
Yeah, it made you feel like you were, Philippe and Jacques Cousteau down there.
I was there, man.
Yeah, right there. So back to the story. What's interesting about this is that fish shouldn't be able to swim. It's one of those bumblebee kind of things. You ever hear that story where like bumblebees aren't supposed to fly?
Yeah, someone told me it was like physically, like according to physics, bumblebees can't fly.
Yeah, and that's an urban.
That ruined science for me forever.
Yeah, that's a tough one. And most people, but this fish isn't supposed to swim. All right.
Okay.
So this, according to the story, that fish has inspired decades, 40 years, I think, decades of research into how they figure out how those fish can move around. Decades.
Wow.
And the latest is a doctoral candidate named Pim Boot.
That's a good name.
Isn't that good?
Yeah.
Pim Boot.
You see how you could read that the first try without practice and get it right?
See, I pre-screen these to make sure.
Yeah.
That I'm doing. Name. Yeah. Pim,
that's how you can tell.
Pim Boot from Netherlands, University in Netherlands. And his theory was that the tail is the key. And he said that, a tail of most fish, according to the story, is that most fish use it to propel and steer, right? That's the tail. Caudal peduncle, as some would say.
That's what some would. You and I think, are it.
Yeah, I think you're right. But he thinks it moderates yaw. Do you know what yaw is?
I'm afraid to ask, but go ahead. Tell me.
Yaw is an orientation. There's pitch, there's roll, and then there's yaw.
Oh, okay. So if you're flying, you would have these things.
Yes. So anything that's moving in 3 dimensions has pitch, roll, and yaw. And the article says that when a car hits a black ice and fishtails, that's an example of yaw.
Okay.
So it's going that way, left and right.
Perfect.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? So the way the guy did it is he didn't chop off the tails and see if the fish would, not swim. Although that was the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah, that would work.
Right.
Maybe just tape the tail to the fish.
Right. Or do something like that. No, they got models. So they got these models. They they tested them with tails on, tails off, open, closed. And the results are that it's the tail. That's it.
But there's no doesn't say anything.
No. They said the result.
So, 10 years of research. We've been looking at this 40 years of research on this fish. Nigh on to 40 years been researching this fish. Finally, we got an answer. And his wife comes up. Her name is Marge. And she says, well, what, Pim, what is
Pim?
What's the answer? Well, Marge, it's a tail. And then she divorces him because he wasted 40 years of their life obsessing over something that he already knew.
Right. Yeah. That it was the tail. Yeah.
The tail.
And looking at that video, it made it clear that the tail was doing something funky.
Yeah, it wasn't doing normal tail things.
Right.
No.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought, there you go. That's the latest research out of Australia, because that's where these things are, I assume. Actually, no, it's out of Netherlands. But the
research in Netherlands, but the fish is Australia.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And
well, you know what, Dave? I think the truth is Pim wanted excuses to go to Australia every year. And he and Marge every year got to go to Australia on an adventure for science. And that's the secret to their long marriage.
I think that's likely. I think it was a Pim thing.
Yeah.
But also now all the other researchers are really pissed at Pim because he solved it. And now all their junkets, all their free trips all over the world. And actually the article gets into like the controversy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because some people,
the tail.
Yeah. The tail.
Boring answer.
Some people think the carapace is the thing that orients it and lets it move around.
Right.
So, but he said, no, it's the tail. So yeah, there's a big fight over the boxfish. And I think this didn't say it in the article, but I think this was sponsored by Amazon, this research. Because if you could figure out how to make the boxes fly, you don't need drones anymore. No, you would just put tails on the boxes and fill them full of helium.
Maybe it's time for Pim to start his second career.
I think Pim ought to get together with Rudy and patent the flying box from Amazon.
Perfect. Do it. Get on it right away.
Yeah, totally worked. Right.
That's a good story, Dave.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Let me see if I can find one more. And I didn't even pre-read this one. That's how good this one's going to be.
Oh, okay. I can't wait to hear what the guy's name is.
Well, this is from the Sharkophile website, sharkophile.com. And the headline is, Shark poop may be essential to marine ecosystems.
Okay.
All right, and here we go. The author is James Gaines. See, easy to read.
Oh, yeah,
that's how you know it's accurate.
Yeah, that's good.
Many sharks are alpha predators, and their hunting plays an important role in many offshore reef ecosystems because though I can't read, Dave.
It's all right.
Because through feeding, they keep their local fish populations in check. Now it turns out their feeding may help coral reefs on the other end of the food chain as well. Sharks, those swimming scoffers of ocean seafood, are prolific poopers. and shark manure, according to a new paper published last month in the Proceedings of Royal Society, may be an important source of fertilizer in the coral reef. Well, now I'm kind of bored. But on the upside, Dave, the quoting person, whose name is Palmyra, so they're trying to mess me up anyway.
Yeah, they threw it in there. They got
Palmyra Atoll, the wild refuge, 1,000 miles off Hawaii. The atoll is a small, less than 3 square miles, lined with sandy beaches and palm trees. The refuge is only lightly touched by human hands, and fishing is banned in the area. And in contrast, the spare habitation on shore and coral reef surroundings of the atoll is a bustle of activity, home to colorful fishes, crabs, and sea turtles, and more than 8,000 gray reef sharks. Scientists have known for some time the predators can positively affect the health of the ecosystem, like wolves do with deer populations, for example, which can keep trees and shrubs from getting overblown. The same principle applies to the reef. So the sharks are keeping the population in check, and they're fertilizing the reef at the same time. But the reason I put this up was on our Facebook group. I might be spending time on there this week. But
here and there.
Yes. So I have to find this.
Oh, now you got to find it, and you're going to do
my fail as a host here. Fish Nerds podcast group. If you're not already on our podcast group on Facebook,
see, you're a master because you've woven in embedded marketing right there. You know,
that's right.
You said the address, pretending you're foolishly fumbling to find your own website.
Well, the reason I put it is because we put the story got put up a couple of days ago, and got some funny comments. My favorite one though was I think it was Tim Beat. I'm still finding it. He put in this song, Baby Shark, but he went Sharky poop 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 Sharky poop 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 poop, and Facebook said, "Do you want to translate this?" The see translation button popped up, so I want to read you the translation of the Sharky poop song here, if I can find it here.
Wow. I had no idea this was going this way.
I hadn't either until about 10 minutes ago. And I saw this and I thought, I got to do this. Well, luckily my computer's moving really slowly right now, so it's taking me some time.
Yeah, keep vamping. You're doing great.
I'm doing all I can, Dave. How's the fishing been down to Exeter?
Oh, it's been fine. We're getting the rain. We're getting all that, but the trucks keep driving and the trucks keep dropping fish. People like catching those. They
really do. Now, Massachusetts just closed down all of their guided fishers for the whole season.
Wow, just done.
So, done. No charter trips, no guides, nothing.
That's
and I talked to New Hampshire Fishing Game today. It says already talk of that in New Hampshire, and they went, yeah, no, no chance.
No, it's not going to happen. That means you're going to get a lot of Massachusetts clients.
Well, I'll take their money. All right. Hopefully they won't make me sick. All right. So Tim Beat wrote, "Baby shark poop 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 poop, baby shark poop 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 poop," and then underneath it, Facebook put a little button up that says "See translation." So when you click on it, here we go. It says, "Baby shark flower, 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 baby shark flower, flower." So I don't know what language it's translating to.
Right.
But in some language, poop and flower are the same word.
And is it flour like to make bread, or is it flour
flower like a blooming flower?
Like a blooming, steaming pile of flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's nice.
Yeah. So
who knew? Well, you do want to figure out what country that is, because if you want to get your,
Is a country named Tamil? Is that a country?
Sure.
Then that's the country.
That's the country. There
that's
you go.
The only reference I have on Facebook here.
Well, you could go over there and order your wife a big bouquet of poop.
Hey, honey, happy Valentine's Day.
I got you poop.
Wow, that's good. And that's Fish in the News. You got anything else, Dave?
All right.
Go.
All right. So this is a game. We're going to try a game.
All right, I'm in.
I want you on your computer to go to randomwordgenerator.com.
Okay.
Randomwordgenerator.com.
Random word generator. Let's spell it.
So you can get close. Google will take care of you.
Random word generator. I'm there.
Okay.
Should I share a screen for this?
Sure. Why not? Right?
All right, I'm going to do that.
Yeah. And I have a process that I'm trying to patent. All right.
Okay.
So the process is step 1, go to randomwordgenerator.com.
Okay.
So you've done that.
Yep.
Next, I don't see the screen yet, but I assume
it's coming.
It's on its way. Takes a while.
Mm-hmm.
Vamp, poop. All right. Here we go. Random word generator. And what you do is you select one word.
Yeah.
The type of word is an adjective. So step 2, select an adjective. So word type, adjective.
Getting there. All right.
Yeah, very good. And then select see where it says equals. You could select so skip the first letter, last letter stuff. You don't care about that.
Word size, syllables, letters, equals. Yes.
Yeah. Hit syllables, I guess, is fine.
Oh, syllables. Okay.
And then you want greater than 1.
It's not equals.
Yeah.
Greater than, and then
greater
1.
than 1. Yeah. You basically we're looking for a word. That's an adjective.
Right. And then hit generate.
Hit generate. And then whatever this word is.
Okay.
All right. So we have to insert it in this sentence. What is a blank fish? All right.
So in the blank spot, I got to put this word in.
Yes.
So what is an icky fish?
Right. And then you and I are going to compete to get as close as we can to the first return from Google when we type in what is an icky fish.
Okay. How do we compete? What do you mean?
All right. So what is an icky fish? We're going to type that, not yet, but we're going to type that into Google. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have to bet what that first return is going to be. What kind of story, what kind of page, what kind of, what's it going to be? And whoever gets the closest wins.
Okay. And how do you measure proximity to this?
Well, all right. So first you measure the intensity of the light.
Get your chart out.
Get a chart. It's all patented. Don't worry about it. All right. So what do you think? I told you this might not work. That's why
I love it. I love it already.
That's why I did the pause.
It's working.
So what is a icky fish? I'm going to say the first result. What is an icky fish? All right. I'm going to go obvious. All right. I'm going to say the first result is an aquarium-related article about a fungal growth on a fish.
Oh, see, I was leaning towards a bacterial problem in a human, though. I was thinking of a human disease called the icky fish, or related to humans, maybe from a fish. So,
okay.
All right. You want to type this in?
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to type it in as what is a icky fish?
Yeah. Jed Lush says it's a burbot.
That's good. Mm-hmm. Fish is an icky fish. ICKY, right?
ICKY.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna hit it.
Hit
it. All. Hold on. I'm gonna hit it all. Oh. That's weird. Why is this saying this? All right. So what is an icky fish? It said, do you mean what is a yucky fish? No.
Is icky not a word on Google?
Icky is a word. Huh? And then it's pronounced Icky Jimmy. It says Icky Jimmy is a method of inserting a metal object into a fish's brain.
Yes, I see that.
Killing it instantly.
Wow.
Yeah. So an Icky Jimmy.
We did a story on this tool years ago.
We did. Yes. You guys did, I think. Or no. I don't know.
It was you.
Yeah, I think it was. So,
years ago.
Way to pith a fish. So the first result was a fish lobotomy.
So who was closest?
So yours was what?
My a bacterial infection in humans.
Oh, and then mine was a fungal infection. I don't know.
Well, yours was on a fish, so at least you're closer in that sense.
And it kills the fish. I'm going to say I won.
I'm going to say you won too, because why not?
Why not? So there you go. I don't know what the name of this game is, but I'm patenting it.
I like it. If now we can get the pace picked up a little bit, it would be in good shape.
Well,
Mike Steffman described that problem as Ichijima.
Oh, that's a totally different thing. That has to do. You have to have spray, and you got to air yourself out, and you don't want an Ichijima.
I don't want Ichijima. Yeah,
it's not good.
Yeah. Now the second in Google search on there was, by the way, is from petcoach.com, and the causes and prevention, how to treat an itch in freshwater fish.
Yeah. So, and I think that's pronounced ick.
Ick.
Well,
I don't read so good.
Yeah, I understand. Well, it's a weird thing. Ick, though, is a super common illness that happens to fish. It's like this cotton stuff that forms all over a fish. It's terrible.
Mm-hmm. Ick.
It's
got the right name.
Yeah. Man, I thought sure I had that. But no, this Icky Jimmy.
Icky Jimmy. I want one.
I knew Icky Jimmy once.
She was a high school friend.
Yeah, man.
A little funny mustache. It was just barely growing in and smelled funny.
Yeah, Icky Jimmy. You never went over to his house. I'm telling you. That was bad.
All right. Well, that's Fish in the News. Thank you, Dave, for playing along. And so kind of rolling back for people who haven't heard the podcast in a long time, Dave, you want to give people some background on who you are and your history? You want to do a quick catch up?
Yeah. So early on, I mean, I've known Clay for 40 years, right? If I do my math right.
Mm-hmm. Right. Something like that.
Yeah, 40 years. And I knew he was always up for everything. We started off with this quest to catch and eat all the freshwater fish in New Hampshire. Mm-hmm. And then that evolved into, hey, let's write a book.
Yep.
Failed. And then we were like, well, book writing's hard.
Real hard.
So, but talking's easy.
Somewhat.
And so then we're like, well, let's do a podcast. And we went through the whole process of naming it and trying it and putting together and losing money and going to interesting places and all this. And I did it for and I did it for 2 years, I think.
I think a little longer than that, but yeah.
Yeah, 100 and some episodes, maybe 100. Yeah. Not many when you compare the whole thing. And then I got a job and I lost my mojo on it. Mm-hmm. And but you were like, nope, I'm keeping the mojo going. I'm keeping it going, keeping the faith.
Yeah, and I keep going. I don't know how to stop.
It's great. That is the secret. I'm convinced that's the secret to life, is just keep doing. Keep
eventually the Fish Nerds podcast will be the only podcast left. So
you're hoping it goes like 8-track tape kind of thing? Like you're going to be the only one left on the platform.
It'll be vintage. Everyone will be streaming on things like, what we're doing now. And I'll still be putting out this old podcast on iTunes, and people have to get like special adapters for their computers to play it.
Right. And they go, well, there's always the Fish Nerds. You can listen to that on that platform. So,
yeah.
Well, anyway, it's totally awesome. You kept it going and you got your kids involved, and it's just great.
It's fun. But anyway, you're welcome back anytime. We're always happy to see you. By the way, do you remember Jonathan Bergeron?
Walking around with headphones and gear with Clay Groves at Rockingham Park.
So back in the day, Dave.
Oh my God, yes.
I'm going to help you remember who this is. We were walking around. In the old days, we thought we had hit the biggest show ever. We had like 100, maybe 100 listens a month, maybe. And we got the Rockingham Fishing Expo gave us this like front and center space to do.
That was
live
big
podcast.
time. That was big
so
time.
Much fun. And then we'd walk the hall and ask questions like, tell us the biggest secret in fishing or something. I think that was the question. And we came around the corner, and this guy, Jonathan Bergeron, was there, and he was doing 3D scanning of rivers, looking for like boats and cars.
Holy cow. Yes.
Yes. And so now he lives up in Berlin, and he owns a business called Bergie's Trading Post. But that's who Jonathan Bergeron is, I believe. Jonathan, if I'm wrong, correct me. If I'm right, just stay silent.
Holy cow. I absolutely remember that conversation, like pulling cars out of rivers and things.
Yeah, kind of amazing. The 3D imagery. And this is like, when the podcast first started, like 40 years ago now.
Yeah, 42. Yeah.
44.
And that banner behind you, I think, was created for that show.
This banner behind us was like the third generation for that show. The first year we had these like smaller banners that we were super proud of. They were gross looking. We're like, yeah, we got these banners and stickers that don't stick to things. And
oh man, fearless.
Yeah. We got on, we got on public radio and all that stuff, and no one cared. So,
Jonathan confirmed. Yeah.
See,
I know, man. That is awesome. That is super, super awesome. Well, yes. Good to see you.
Good to see you. All right. Well, Dave, that's the news, and that's what we're doing tonight. So
awesome. Well, thanks again. I'll come back. I'll keep looking for good news.
Whenever you find good news, we can do this and plug it into the show and have some fun.
Yeah, sounds awesome. Thanks
again.
All
right.
News, fish in the news. Everybody loves their fish in the news.
This episode of the Fish Nerds is brought to you by Olukia. At Olukia, we handcraft Hawaii-inspired footwear, finding inspiration in Hawaiian culture and craftsmanship. Fishing is at the heart of the Hawaiian culture today, just as it has been for centuries. Generations of fishermen and women expertly cast from rocky shorelines and sandy beaches. They spearfish, throw nets, fly fish, and navigate their boats beyond the reef and into deep blue waters in search of the next big catch. No matter how they do it, there's an attention to detail and respect for the ocean that guides their passions. At Olukia, they believe in the same attention to detail when crafting the highest quality shoes and sandals built for every type of marine environment. Alukia's water-friendly Nohea Moku slip-on shoe features raised or sipping with non-marking rubber for extra grip on the deck, dock, or other rocks. Designed for easy-on, easy-off barefoot wear. By the way, I have a pair of these, as does my wife, and they're great because I don't like untying shoes, and the heel in these is meant to bend down when you slide your feet in so you don't wreck your heels. Putting them on, plus they're super comfortable, and they look good, too. And when it comes to sandals that perform, Alukia's new Ulele provides the comfort and durability of a sneaker for those long days on the boat or on the shore. And they float, too, which is also important. And I love these shoes, and I'm so happy to have Olukia as a sponsor. We hope they stick with us. Whether you're loading up on the boat or shoreline fishing from the rocks or scoping out the best place to set up on the beach, Olukia takes you further. Shop or find your local retailer at alukai.com/fishnerds, OLUKAI.com/fishnerds.
Sick fishing. Sick. Those guys talking about what they're doing to get the fishing done in the pandemic. This is Crappie Hippie, your tree-hugging redneck from eastern Kansas, and tonight I am joined by the man with the plan, the coolest guy north of the Mason-Dixon line, Mr. Rich Collins.
Hey, hello, everybody. How's the pandemic treating you? I hope you're staying safe in quarantine and getting out fishing.
Absolutely.
I think John wanted me to talk a little bit about what it's like here in New Hampshire right now. And then he's going to talk a little bit about what his fishing is. But it's a pretty weird world out there. Oh, I see John's got some.
Indeed. It is a weird world. Well, we're going to take turns, so I won't elaborate on what Kansas has got going on. But I not only want to talk about what the regs are saying or what the experts are saying, but I also want to talk about things positive and negative that I see going on the water. So New Hampshire has not shut down the fishing.
Right. So we're in a stay-at-home order for anything non-essential. So I don't even know what that means. But basically, don't go out unless it's for groceries, food, important things, essential work. But the governor made a very specific call out to say, enjoy your outdoor recreation, enjoy the parks, even though they did close some of them. They closed the entire beach line, which is a real bummer because we have a beautiful beach that people could definitely, social distance, but people were naughty, especially in Florida on beaches. They were hanging out, and so we have no beaches. But Fishing is on the table. It's encouraged. They're still stocking. What they have done is they've not disclosed. Usually they put out a weekly report of where they stock. It's a week in arrears, so you can, a week late find out where they stock. They've stopped doing that because they don't want people to all hit the same hole at the same time. However, New Hampshire people are well trained. They do the same thing every year pretty much. Anywhere there's a bridge or a piece of water that they can dump stuff off the truck, they do. So there's a little bit of congestion, although I've found people to be quite respectful of the distancing. There's not been crowds, but there have been people, 10 feet apart and 10, 20 of them at certain holes. So, but I see it's very respectful so far, even the stocked fish. So I'm kind of psyched about that. So that enables me to be able to go out and fish kind of wherever I want. And I have 3 nephews living with me at the moment, and we've been going out hunting hunting any fish, but we've been going out quite a bit and have had no issues really whatsoever. A few people got close to us. We just left, no big deal.
Yeah, well, that's, just move on. I've been really lucky. We're kind of in the same boat, same, non-essential, all that. And our governor and the state is encouraging people to get out, maintain distance, but get out there. I've been out. White bass and morel mushrooms happen at the same time around here. So I'm hiking up and down these creeks trying to find my white bass. I run across a morel hunter here and there. It was interesting because I popped out of the woods right as a morel hunter was coming down the trail. And we were a little closer than we wanted to be, but it was funny because he waited till he got past me by about 3 or 4 feet before he said, catching anything. So he didn't just, jump out and just, and it was cool. And I knew he was going to cross the creek. So I waited and let him do his cross. And then I crossed. But yeah, it's been good. What we are seeing though, is if, I belong to a lot of Facebook groups, and what I've been reading is like, don't tell people, just like we were saying, don't tell people where the hot fishing is, or don't tell people that, this lake is pretty or whatever, because they've had to close a few of the state lakes because if people complain, or a warden drives by, or a sheriff drives by and sees that people are being naughty, then they will they're naughty. They will just, they're going to use dad law. They're going to say, okay, if you can't do it, you don't get to do it at all. Okay.
Dad law.
Yeah. If you can't play right, if you can't play safe, we're just not going to let anybody come into the lake. And so a lot of fishermen are bummed out when that happens because the beer and chatter crowd shows up and starts having their little get together. And as the more it flows, the closer people get. So, but which is kind of a shut the door after the horse has already run off sort of a thing. But then again, it's better, I think, to let people at least, give people credit, because I've seen it working out. I haven't seen it.
Well, I'm having 2 issues in particular. One is when I see trash and I pick it up, I'm like, I probably just picked up a giant Bud Light can of COVID. So then I have to go sterilize my hands, and then when I throw it away, and it's onerous trying to figure out what to do with the trash. Like the fresh trash really bugs me. And then of course there was like a tire, and I'm like, what am I going to do with this? I can't do anything with it. I just leave it. But that's been an issue, but not a really big one. But the big issue for me has been with boats. A lot of guys here have drift boats or, skiffs. I have both. Buddy called me up, said, let's go float the Saco. And I'm like, all right, I'll be there tomorrow morning, first thing. So I woke up at like 5 or 6 a.m. and I told my wife, I'm going fishing. It's going to be great. See you later. And she's like, oh, really? Where are you going? I'm like, we're going to float the Saco. And she looked at me and she's like, is that social distancing? And I'm, yeah, because he's 6 feet away in the drift boat. And she's like, do you know germs can flow through the air? And I'm like, yeah. So we talked about it and finally came to the conclusion that it just wasn't wise to be in a boat with a stranger. Plus we'd have to spot a car and drive back and forth somehow. So unfortunately, that's a real bummer, is the floats and the boats with non-family members is not going to happen, I don't think, for a while.
No, and I've had to cut off. At first I was, I had to borrow a mold to do a customer order, and I met a friend and at the fly shop. We just like to go in there and say hi and see how those guys are doing. At KK Fly Fishers in Overland Park, Kansas, And I don't know. Then we just got to where, you just don't know, who they're out talking to, what they're doing. And we can be distant, and everybody in the store was cool. And of course I bought some stuff because I want to show support, and you never have enough fly tying stuff or jig tying stuff. Okay. And, Brad took the money, gave me my change, and then straight off to the bathroom to wash his hands. I laid the money on the counter. He laid the change on the counter. I walked up, took the change. I mean, we did everything right, but it's still just not, it doesn't make sense. But the risk and reward factor kind of stands on its head. Like when Kim and I want to go fishing, we both just drive to the fishing hole and just stay the hell away from each other and holler back and forth. And that's just what we're going to do.
Right.
But I can't get in a boat with anybody though. No, I wouldn't
do that. So now we have it pretty bad here. It's not as bad. Massachusetts, just south, I'm only like 20 minutes from the border, is really bad. New York is really bad. We've got cases, but they're under control. We don't have the chaos, but that's because we've done our governor was pretty good at stopping it early without waiting for federal direction, which was good. I was glad to see. But you don't have like people around you that with it, right? Or do you? Is it exploded there yet, or is it kind of like?
No, there's very few hot spots, and what is it, 5, 6? There's not very many in Kansas, and 3 of them are centered around churches where people went to church.
Went to church.
Church or choir practice or what have you, and ignited it in a small town here and there. KCK, of course, has his 1 or 2. It's the one urban environment we have, but we're holding it pretty good. I mean, I wouldn't know. I know my neighbor owns a tire shop, so he's in essential services. So he's in there working every day, handling customers, touching the touch screens, touching the tires, dealing with people. And he's a regular guy. He'll wear a mask if it means keeping metal shavings out of his nose. I don't see him wearing one when he's up at the, up when I drive by. So it's another thing, Rich. It's like what really has people, because of the lack of testing and the lack of knowledge, is like, who do I know? What do I know?
Right. Everyone looks suspicious, even though they're your friends. It's really odd. It's not good.
Well, and then you get worried. Now I'm all worried because Les had a little bit of a respiratory thing back in December. And, he's hard as nails, and it knocked him off his feet, but he got back on. But then now there's this rumor going around that, if you had a respiratory freak even back in December, you may have had coronavirus. I'm just like, and his tire shop is popular. I mean, he's still running customers out because there's still plenty of people that got to get to work or do whatever.
Right.
And they need their tires when they get wore out and popped and stuff. And so, I worry about him. I worry about everybody.
Yeah. So I think I'm friends with at least 2. I know of 3 families or family units or people that have it and got sick, not deadly sick, but a couple hospital sicks. One of them still isn't better. So it's real here. I don't know how I see people not obeying things, and I'm like, it is real, and we do need to respect it. So I'm glad to hear, even though you're not seeing it everywhere, people are still aware of it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. Kansas may be a conservative state, but people aren't stupid, and there's plenty of room here to spread out. I mean, we have less than 3 million people here, so we're.
I think it's a population thing. It doesn't discriminate. Wherever people are too close to each other, it's a problem, which does make me wonder about fishing, like in more urban areas or ponds in Boston. They stock ponds there. They have to be crammed with people. Which is not good.
Well, I mean, they could still run it, but they've got to start doing like the stores and only letting, this pond has so much space around the edge. That means it's 6 feet a person, and we can only have 30 people come in at a time.
At a time, yeah. It's like the grocery store. I couldn't go to a grocery store because I can't go to them when they're normal because they make my brain hurt. all the processes and chaos, and I guess they have lines. You have to go in one way, go through all the aisles in like a zigzag, and come out the other side at the register. So there's all these rules, and my wife's like, "You can't go to the grocery store because you won't obey the rules." Because I don't even see the rules. But I wonder if they'll have to start doing that, putting like little boxes where you can fish and where you can at some of the state lakes or something like that. I hope not. We're the live free or die state. You're supposed to be able to take care of yourself, but I don't know that always applies to people.
And I don't think it applies. It's an invitation to throw away your common sense. I'm lucky. I've lived here where I'm at for 30 years. I know, some ponds I can go. I know a lot of places that for what I want to do, it's fine. And there's but yeah, I'm missing out on spring bass. And usually this buddy of mine, Tom, he manages a private lake for this lady, and he does a great job at it. It's insane fishing, man. And he's an organic produce farmer, so he has little gaps between crops where he'll call me and we'll run over there and slay and have a good time. But we can't. It's a big lake, and you can't do it without the boat. So we're being good boys, and we're letting that one go. But I may not be without the prime fishing or the fishing that I really want to do. On the other hand, I'm not. I think it's spoiled, frankly, to whine about it.
Yeah, exactly.
When I can't do everything I wanted to do before. Well, that's the whole idea, folks.
That's how you are into fishing, because it was like the end of the world when I heard I couldn't ride on a boat with someone. I was like, and then I also ran into a guy on Lake Winnipesaukee who trolls all the time, and he's like, come on my boat tomorrow, I go every day. And I'm like, and he's like, I'll teach you everything I know about trolling. I'm older, I'm disabled, I'm a veteran, I'll teach you everything, and you can learn from an expert. I do this every day. And I'm like, so I have an opportunity to learn, which really got me fired up. So it was the end of the world for me to not be able to go on a boat for, 2 days, which is so spoiled. It's like, I can still go fishing. I can still
you're allowed to be disappointed. I'm not saying spoiled is when you go anyway, or spoiled is when you write the crackpot letter and say, I should be allowed to go because I'm special.
Keep government out of my fishing.
Right.
Keep your rules to yourself.
Yeah. I mean, in that situation, I'd be afraid of giving it to the gentleman. If he's already have a disability and he's elderly, it's like, I could be one of those people. One of those lucky people who can just carry it around with no symptoms,
Correct.
So, that's a lucky person. I think but speaking of, consequences and so forth, what did you think of the last show? Clay's doctor impression and what that came to.
The doctor had a very funny voice. I don't know if I trust him. I didn't quite agree that you can't go fishing or you should stay home. I also don't personally agree that, they say don't hike, don't do anything far away, don't do anything at all dangerous because the hospitals will be overwhelmed, but ours aren't really overwhelmed. If they were, it might be different. There's certainly COVID cases coming, but the doctors and nurses here aren't working 24/7, although they're certainly strained. So I don't think staying home does any more good because you're just going to go out and mow the lawn or you're just going to hurt yourself doing something dumb at home. So I think you should be able to go out and do, particularly hiking, fishing, just do it smart. That's what it's an opinion. So the doc was a little more, if I remember correctly, a little more stringent about just stay home. It's the best thing you can do. And I respect that. I just don't think staying home is good. It's just going to make you crazy if you're guys.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I know his conclusions are heavily data driven and, but I think I can drive from here down to 4 miles down to the one creek. It's like 5 minutes to the other creek. I think I can do that without getting in a wreck. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And they say your wrecks are always close to home, so it's really
yeah. So the whole distance thing, and your car might break down, then you're needing emergency services. It's like, yeah, or I might get a Sharknado, or I might, but I'm telling you, when you're sitting at home and you've thought about murder more times in a week than perhaps in years and years, and we're talking about strain on emergency services, okay?
Yeah.
And it starts with the cat and then just escalates. Those people need to get out. They need to
get out and stretch their legs.
Every recycler I go by is completely full of booze bottles, beer cans. The instant pizza boxes are sticking out of the trash can along with the whatever. And people are doing anxiety behaviors and anxiety relief behaviors.
Right.
And, if you're stuffing your face with an entire DiGiorno's, that pizza looked good the other day, by the way.
My wife stuffed crust, or it wasn't stuffed, it was Chicago style.
It was decent. I was hungry. It was no fair. But I know you share, but say you ate a whole one of those and then choked to death or had a heart attack. Once again, we're doing anxiety cures that carry the danger. Yeah, being obsessed with your lawnmower and taping down the kill switch so you can start it and let it warm up.
Working on your roof.
Right. Putting in the picket fence. I mean, anything you could end up having an accident. So if we don't let everybody's pressure valve, anxiety reliever, carries a consequence or a potential consequence. I don't know what doctor expects us to do, but just sit there with our hands neatly folded. No. So I have half my fishing I can just walk to, and he even had a problem with that. Well, I would feel, I would feel best about that. It's like, yeah, dude, if I don't get out of this house, it's gonna be.
Yeah. Well, they say as soon as this ends, or even before, divorce rates are going to go up. Therapists are going to see more. Like, people are going to go nuts, and they are going to start losing their mind because they can't get out and do whatever it is they do. Get their haircut, whatever you want to do, shop.
Well, that's why, declaring this essential and that essential, I don't know. I'm pretty open-minded, and I know that, self-care is a very essential thing for some people. The way that you look affects the way you feel, and so to say, oh, you can't go buy new clothes, or you can't go buy lipstick, or you can't go buy this or that. Like the flowers and the gardening and all this. You need your outlets. You need outlets because it's the uncertainty. I mean, we can't buckle down like in a war where we know, hey, this is the enemy. This is what they're doing. This is what we're doing. We're like, we don't know, it's sci-fi. We don't know who has it. We don't, we don't have any leadership. We don't know what to do. And, the people are starting to take over independently, and it's starting to gel. And I think actually that we're actually doing an amazing job as a nation considering, but don't take our fishing away, man. You can't do it because I'm not going to have it. Like I keep telling people, if it comes to that, I just have the pulse down my leg and I'm just walking to work, officer, and take a shortcut right across this field here. And, I found it laying on the bank and picked it up to look at it. Sorry.
I pay myself. This is my job.
Yeah, that's right. I am a tackle developer. I need to test my lures. It's essential for me to be out here. I'm definitely going to keep that angle at hand if it ever comes to that extreme. I think there's going to be a lot of tackle designers all of a sudden emerge and get out and test. I mean, I won the Iron Fly competition. I'm training for next year. I got to get out. I got to get out.
Oh, that's funny. Vinny's been doing all kinds of learning fly tying, and I brought my kit, and I got it all in the basement, and I just haven't brought myself to indoor fly tie yet. It's just, I don't know. I never really liked it because it's tedious, but I've been going out instead, fishing and not catching anything. It's a little more refreshing.
Big and start basic. That's, people that say, oh, I want you to tie a number 14 caddis, what's. It's like, no. Tie me up, a 1/0 streamer, okay? Just
streamer.
Don't worry about what you'll ever use it for. Pretend you're going to use it for smallmouth, and do
which I would.
Easy and big. And then work down from there. And that's just it. I after I borrowed the mold from my old junior high guy I've fished with off and on all my life, we call him the professor because the guy's just outdoor lunatic, everything. He can tie flies. He can do, he's the person that's caught all the fish on every kind of fishing equipment, is going back around catching everything on a fly rod. Stories, this, that. I was going to get with him and start doing some fly tying segments for YouTube. But, then I'm like, we can't be in a studio. We can't even be in a studio. We won't stay apart. We can't even stay in frame together.
Yeah, it's hard to Zoom fish via Zoom. I just can't.
Well, we can't. I mean, he's fascinating and kind of hard for schedules to mesh, but all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's lost business. He's a landscaper, and same story, non-essential. So he's stuck. I do what I do. So we have time on our hands, but we can't get together. And that's maddening. That's just maddening. You're just like, because adulting makes things incredibly hard to pull off.
It is kind of like being an adult. Like, I know that because I'm taking kids with me, and the risks, I'm like, we can't take that risk. Like, normally I'd balance on a log to get across a river, and
right.
I'm like, I can't show them that. That's not an adult thing. So this is kind of like a giant grown-up adulting quiz.
Yeah.
Do you cram all your friends in a party boat and go see Clay on his pontoon boat, or do you stay on the river alone with your fly rod and listen to a podcast on your phone? It's like, what's the adult thing to do?
Yeah. Oh, Clay, the boat's 24 feet long. You can draw a line on the deck, but it's just like, no, it's just insane. Money has to change hands. Contact has to be made.
And he
sneeze. He's at risk like crazy.
Yeah, he's got one gimpy lung left. So yeah, and you touch things. I mean, you're going to touch the steering wheel. He's going to be like, "Hey, put that in gear for me." Whatever. It is tough.
Oh well, guided. We all know you teach. I don't care if you're a guide or not. When you teach somebody to fish, you always end up shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah,
that's
and Clay's got to kiss every fish.
Yeah,
he's always kissing fish and kissing clients. Never ends.
Be the first COVID fish. We got the COVID tiger. Now we got COVID fish swimming around. Yeah. All right. Anyway, and I'm looking up and down the Midwest, and it's largely the same. Which one of the Dakotas hasn't even declared? Anyway, there's even states through the Midwest and the near West that haven't even declared the stay-in stuff. I think it's South Dakota. All right, we kind of veered off into parks and pandemic at that point. I might put that on the show at a later date if I can find the time. But right now, let's just let Rich take us out of here with some words of wisdom. All right, bro. Well,
all right. Well, glad to hear your
say about COVID or anything else you want to add.
No, just I don't know what's going to happen, but we can fish. As long as we can fish, I'll stay sane. As long as we can learn about fishing, I'll stay half sane. But go out, be safe, and be smart, do the right thing, and I think we'll be okay.
Well, I agree, and I've already canceled my trip. I was going to try and see y'all in May. Not going to happen, Rich.
Not going to happen. And I don't even go up in Clay and Vinny's neck of the woods because they're like, stay out of our town. Not those two guys, but there's like a movement there on the BBC, like, stay away, it's our town. And it's like, whoa. So I'm staying.
I thought if you brought toilet paper, you could go up there.
Well, maybe.
All right.
I thought that barrier.
Well, it's kind of like the Pepsis of the people escaping the Kuwaiti desert there. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Well, listen, I'm sorry I ain't going to see you in person. It was great to see you on the Zoom boom. We'll be talking to you later. All righty. This has been Crappie Hippie and our fly fishing correspondent, Rich Collins, saying tight lines and Valentines. Peace out.
Bye.
So that's it. You've listened to a bunch of fish nerds when you should have been fishing safely apart without touching each other on the same boat. Big fat thanks to our families for tolerating us while we do all this nerdy stuff. Special thanks to Rich Collins from Thirst Productions. Big thank you to the Crappie Hippie for all he does for this show. He does a ton for this show. Thanks to Dave Kellam. Thank you to Olukia for sponsoring this program. And until next time, follow the code of the fish nerds. Spawn early, spawn often. Never trust a free lunch with strings attached and swim against the current every chance you get. Fish nerds out.
Whether you're fly fishing in a stream, getting those ankles wet, or deep in the ocean casting nets, fish nerds. Fish nerds. Fish nerds. It's a podcast.
Just for the halibut.
Fried in a basket or broiled in a pan. Eat it raw like you're in Siam. Fish nerds. Fish nerds. Fish nerds. It's a podcast.